Okay, take it away, ladies.
All right, hi. Well, I'm really glad that you all could join us here tonight. This, I think, is a really exciting topic. We're going to have some live demonstrations. Our focus is on getting back to school. We're all getting ready for it. And also, back to work. We all have computer workstations at home. And what we're going to talk about today is just some simple ways we can make it a healthier environment for us. And so I'd like to introduce Kate Pettit. She's my sister and best friend, and she is an electromagnetic radiation specialist, an EMRS. It's a new science that's fairly emergent in the last 2 decades or so. And Kate is going to explain to us all about the electromagnetics. I'm Jo-Anna Hennessy. My background is in computer and information sciences. So I think together we've made a pretty good team trying to make this understandable for people, because sometimes it gets really complicated. There's some really easy things. We're going to show you some tips and tricks. Kate?
Absolutely. Okay. And the one thing I want to say is anyone online, we do have people, I think Mark actually is managing comments and questions.
Yep.
So if you have any comments and questions, I think you can type it in the comments and Mark will let us know.
Yep.
Awesome. Okay, super. So, again, welcome. And our science is part of a science called building biology. Building biology is a holistic science that is examining the relationship between humans and the buildings they live in. And it emerged in the 1970s, actually, from all of the housing that they built in World War II. And they just slapped up anything they could, and they were not using healthy products. And mold grew, and the buildings had to be condemned. So, and they didn't realize this until the 1970s. From the 40s, 30 whole years went by, and they didn't realize this. And now it is, it's still an emerging science. It's not burgeoning yet. It's still just emerging. So our focus as building biologists, it is holistic, but we focus on the electromagnetic radiation that's in our home, the wires in our walls, the Wi-Fi on our cell phones. So as I mentioned, it's holistic. So in our environment, there are 5 main categories. There's indoor air quality, which we all understand air quality. It is, we get it on the news every day. Outdoor air quality is no good. Don't go running today. Don't let the kids play. Indoor air quality is just as important, as we all know. And noise control, another obvious one. You can get more work done in the quiet than you can in a noisy, chaotic environment. Thermal comfort, again, a very obvious one. If you're too hot or too cold, you are going to be in discomfort and thereby be distracted, right? Natural light is, yes, we all know that natural light is better for our eyes and our mood and things like that, but we are going to get into that because, and we have some demonstrations with light bulbs, because there are some light bulbs that, in the wintertime, there's not a whole lot of natural light in this area past 4:30 p.m. maybe. So we all need light bulbs, and we have a way of showing you which light bulbs we believe are healthier. And then the final one is electromagnetic radiation exposure. We get this from anything that is wireless or Bluetooth. Cell phone towers, cell phones, routers, Bluetooth speakers. Your television is always emitting even when it's turned off. It is still emitting electromagnetic radiation. So that's what we really want to focus on today. Okay, so what is electromagnetic radiation? It is anything that surrounds electric or magnetic objects and the energy that travels outwardly from it. So anything electric also has magnetics in it, and the radiation comes from anything wireless or Bluetooth. Okay. The first thing we want to talk about are radio frequencies. And these would be our cell phones. And here, right here what we have to point out is that would be the computer. That would be our router underneath the table, Bluetooth speaker, Bluetooth headphones, and cell phone. Bluetooth mouse, Bluetooth keyboard, and our cell phones. That's what that would be.
Anything wireless.
Anything wireless or Bluetooth, exactly.
Alexa, smartwatches, even those hybrid smartwatches, anything that's wireless.
Anything that's called smart emits radio frequencies. What is electromagnetic? What is electric? What are electric fields? An electric field emits from anything that has electricity, and it emits 3 to 6 feet from the device, depending upon the strength of the device. So that's basically every single thing, lights, camera action,
Whether or not
everything.
it's turned on, it just has to be plugged in.
It just has to be plugged in. So MEP, microsurge electric pollution. This is a special category that they're really only just beginning to study now, because it's a higher frequency of electric pollution. So we have regular electric fields, and then we have higher frequency electric fields. And this is what we're going to find from different light bulbs. That's what we're really going to focus on for that. Magnetic fields. Before you turn it on, anything that's plugged in has an electric field. The moment you turn it on, the moment electricity is flowing, there is a magnetic field. So it's just sitting there, this is not turned on, no magnetic field, but definitely an electric field. You turn it on, and now it has an electric and a magnetic field. So electricity flowing, magnetic. So there we go. Okay, so radio frequency. You can see on the slide here, on the far left, there are 2 pictures of heads. One is an adult, and the other is a 5-year-old child. The heat marker coming in is how far in a cell phone radiates into the skull of a child as compared to an adult. When they test and approve cell phones, they test them for adults. Adults have thicker skulls. We have a lot of calcification in our skulls. Our skulls are strong. Small children, their skulls and their cells and the bones in their bodies are still malleable. So it's much softer and it's much easier for the radio frequencies to get through. And you can see that's like clear through the head. That's straight inside their brain. The next picture is the heart and the brain. I love that picture, shaking hands, because both our heart and our brain are connected by electromagnetic forces. They operate through electrical pulses. And the way that we can measure it is we can measure our body voltage. So we're going to do that today. We're going to use Jo-Anna as our guinea pig here to measure her body voltage. And do we have everything turned on?
Almost.
Okay. And you have the Bluetooth mouse in there?
Oh, I don't know.
I'm very sorry that you need the Bluetooth mouse, but you do. And is the computer on Wi-Fi? Is the Wi-Fi turned on?
Check that.
We will check.
Should have plugged this in first. though.
Sorry. Okay, we're gonna turn this on too. Underneath, we need to turn that on. There you go. So this measures electric fields. just so you have an idea. That doesn't sound so
So
bad.
we're gonna do body voltage first.
We are. I just need to. Oh, is it coming at us? Okay. All right. We're just gonna turn that off for a second.
Mark, you're lucky you're sitting back there.
All right, so now we have both Wi-Fi and Bluetooth on, working. So what we're demonstrating now is, here I am sitting at my workstation. Everybody does it. This is a body voltage meter.
A multimeter, right.
It's a true RMS multimeter. So electricians use this to test the power in your lines and such. We just have this nice, handle so that we can test what it is here. So I'll just hold it up so that you can see. I'm not currently touching the keyboard yet, and my body voltage is at 2.533. If I touch the keyboard, it changes. At this point, it actually went down, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
If I touch this, this wire, I just saw it go up. You'll see it goes up to 3 point something. So that's significant. We want this to be like 0.1. That would be best for us. So our
0.01.
0.0.
Right. Because this is in volts, and we use 2 volts is going through her body right now. That's a lot. So, and people talk of it in millivolts, so that would be 2,000.
2,000 millivolts.
You're over 2,000 in millivolts, and we want to be under 100. That's where we want to be. At a workstation, it's very difficult to get under 100. But you can get closer to 300 as opposed to 2,300. So
So
yes.
every reduction is a good reduction. So that's what we're going to start to do now, to remediate all of these different electronics.
right.
But before we turn them off, we wanted to do the body voltage, and then at the very end we'll do it.
We'll do the body voltage again.
So next, radio RF.
Yes. So this is Safe and Sound, and it measures radio frequency in a room. And you can hear it, and you can see, I think it's at extreme. Is the red light? Oh yeah, it's like way at extreme. It's measuring, it just peaked at 346,000 microwatts per square meter. So that just means there's a lot of Wi-Fi going on in here.
Area.
It's the area, and there is Wi-Fi in the room. So it is difficult to be able to determine against that. But at the computer, we popped at 194.
So I'll
Now we
turn
wanna-
off the Wi-Fi, but the Bluetooth will still be working.
There, you can hear it a little better now.
That's the Wi-Fi off. And the Bluetooth off. We might have so much in this.
Yeah, there might be a lot of interference just in
this room itself.
but it went down to 54,000 at the computer. And
Which
you
is
still
when
have,
we were there.
we still have this on though. So you want to turn that off, down, and pull it out. You can pull it out.
Got
There
it.
you go. Now that's gone. So we'll get rid of that. Do you want to show
And
your
this,
antennas on your phone as well?
Yes, let's do that. Uh-oh. Maybe I could borrow Dom's phone. Thank you.
Wi-Fi.
Oh, sure, do you have an Apple phone? We could do it.
And it's an I-12.
An i12, perfect. Do you want to unlock it? We can show you how to do this. How to manage it.
It's on.
Like so you can get to settings?
Okay, I'm still learning how to use it.
Oh, that's great. So this little wheel is your settings, so hit that button.
Yeah, I just got this on learning.
So right now, you are not currently connected to the library's Wi-Fi. your Bluetooth is on, your cellular is on, and your personal hotspot's off. So if you click this button, this airplane mode, oh, maybe just click it as a button. Okay, so what happened, your personal preferences, it always will turn off cellular. It won't always turn off Wi-Fi, and it won't ever turn off Bluetooth. So if now you click your Bluetooth off, now what we use Bluetooth for typically, so just hit that little button there, and that will turn off Bluetooth. So you just want to say turn off, and then you can go back to settings. So what you typically use Bluetooth for is when you're in your car for, you know, connection to your speaker so that you can hear the directions, or maybe you can hear music. But you could also listen to the phone, so you don't necessarily need it. And then, so can we do the safe and sound over here? We're gonna turn on Wi-Fi.
Okay.
So we'll hit repeat. Yeah, it's a pretty high.
Yeah.
So if you click on your Wi-Fi,
This,
like hit the off, and we'll turn it on, and then put that in. This is what
Did you
just
hear the
happened.
difference?
It went up to like 200 and something.
and it was what before originally?
It
Well,
was
here, we
like-
can turn it off again and it'll go down.
So we can turn that off again, and it'll go down to.
Am I reading the bottom average or the top, the peak?
Read the peak.
The peak.
Read the peak.
Okay.
And do you wanna turn it back on now?
I think there's a lot in the room too.
Uh-huh.
So it went up to 845.
No wonder I can't figure
Yeah.
this. I've been, even as a child, when I would watch, I'm 74 years old now, I would watch TV and I could not sleep all night. Even the old-fashioned TVs, I've been always, and I've never slept right my whole life.
Oh, I'm so
Aw.
sorry. I'm so sorry. Old-fashioned TVs
So turn off the Wi-Fi.
didn't have the radio frequency coming out of them, but they had huge magnetic fields, like huge magnetic fields. So,
and
yeah, and electric
and
fields.
MEP. They had all three of
Oh,
them. Really.
yes, and the
had
micro-
them.
I
Microsurge.
watched Walt Disney movies,
Yeah,
but
right.
I could, it was just,
So
yeah.
just-
I've been buzzing my whole life.
Mhm.
Oh my goodness.
So our recommendation truly in the car is
I never had, because in order for me to concentrate, I have one of these newer cars, I have no music. I love music, but for me to concentrate, I don't have any music, I don't have any stimulation.
right.
Mhm.
I would recommend, this is my recommendation for people. I mean, not only is it safer to not get interrupted by a text message or a phone call when you're driving,
I don't,
right?
I
It's
don't answer.
also, right, it's also the, you know, the radiation, you're in a car, so
Right.
it actually multiplies because you're in a metal box, right?
Thank you.
So I recommend just turn off your phone when you get in the car. When you get there, you can turn it back on. Now that you know how to manage your antennas, I just recommend only turn on what you use. If you never use Bluetooth,
No.
just always make sure it says off.
Okay,
Not connected is not the same as off. It will constantly
Ah.
just search for another Bluetooth device to connect to. So not connected isn't the same as off, and off is better. And you only ever need to use one antenna, either Wi-Fi or cellular. And Kate, we could show her the difference now with the cellular,
With the cellular?
with the cellular data.
Yeah.
I've
So what
been
we're gonna
buzzing
do-
my whole life.
So you saw it went up to like 845 with Wi-Fi. Now turn off your airplane mode. Oh, it turned, see how it turned both those back on?
Okay,
So now we're gonna turn off Wi-Fi. Yep, hit the not connected, and then click the little off thing. The little green, just touch that. And
Can
then
you see
hit
the
the
numbers?
back button.
this, the
Yep.
settings,
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to see if it had an address here. It looks like
And then
Powered
hit
by-
this Bluetooth off.
9C1
call the emergency, Mark.
And then hit that
But
off.
it's still quite low.
now do something like, do you ever,
I don't put anything, see, I didn't know that Bluetooth was on.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yeah.
So if
They
you were
make
to
you turn
get-
that off on purpose. Yeah.
If you were to get like a text or a call or something like that, that would go from, we saw it at like 875, it would peak above
3.1 million.
3.1 million.
Yeah, that's
So
as high as this goes.
So it's very,
So-
very excessive in that. So
Absolutely.
right now,
Yes.
your data is active, your Wi-Fi is off, and your Bluetooth is off. Okay, that's your settings right now, so you can change that back.
You
if
can go on our
wanna go on
website
airplane
and you can
mode.
see it better.
What-
Too.
What
Then
does
do
the
the
air,
airplane.
what does the airplane?
So that
mode-
turns off your data. So now you don't have any data, you don't have any Wi-Fi, you don't have any Bluetooth. So if somebody wanted to call you,
Uh-huh,
they would not be able to get through.
good.
Or if you wanted to call them, if you wanted to call them,
There you
you
go.
would have to turn off airplane mode.
Okay.
So that's.
Okay, well, we can talk
get-
more
we can
about
talk
this
more about that
afterwards.
okay.
That's right, we do want to show the difference between the Bluetooth earpods and just, classic wired headphones. Makes a
Ooh.
huge difference,
Yes.
yeah. So, do you wanna open that?
Mhm. So these are Apple pods, a lot of people use them. Oh, we turned it on right away.
Yeah,
I don't wanna put them in my ear.
no,
Scary sound.
that's screaming.
And people put them in their head and it's
Mhm.
very, very bad for you. So we
Yes.
really recommend staying away from
That's
Bluetooth.
screaming that you hear. Can you hear it can they hear it online at all?
The microphone is right behind you, so
Oh, so maybe
folks,
I would.
folks on Zoom, can you hear the device that's operating right now? Can you hear the device, folks on Zoom?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
You can,
Okay.
okay, thank you.
Good, good. So that's Bluetooth. So we highly recommend using hardwired headphones. And we unfortunately didn't have them because we lent them to someone, but they do have headphones that you can get just like this for your iPhone. They're called air tubes. So they don't have any electric or magnetic or Bluetooth. So you can totally, we can talk more about that.
They work through air,
Yeah,
and the sound, in fact, is at the bottom, and it just shoots through the air tube and goes right in, and you can hear, and it's got fine quality, and it's all about the ear fit, though, is
Right.
what I
What we
hear.
But you also have these types of, devices for your computer. So that
Right,
works.
which has zero radio frequency.
No radio.
Zero radio frequency. So now we are moving on. We have gotten rid of all of the radio frequency here. Jo-Anna?
Yes.
Okay, and we're moving on to electric?
Electric fields, yep.
Okay, electric fields. So like I said before, everything that's electric has an electric field. Every single
We
thing.
forgot about the router.
Oh, yes, we didn't talk about the router. All right, we're gonna go back really quickly. The router here is directly underneath the table. Now, this router is not connected to, it doesn't have a cable, so it has no Wi-Fi or Bluetooth or anything, but normally a router does. It's under the table at the feet. This is a bad plan, and this is many people's plan. One thing that you can do is remove the router from this spot and plug it in somewhere where no one goes to in your home. You can plug it in the basement or whatever and wire up to where you need to be, or use one of these. These are kind of like walkie-talkies for a router. If I plug it into the outlet where the router is plugged in, the internet will go through the electric wires that are already in the wall, and then she can plug this in at her end, and the internet will come back through this side.
So in other words, you could turn your Wi-Fi off in your router and still have connectivity within your home without having Ethernet cables run throughout your entire home. So these are, you know, really useful products. As you can see, this is where you would click in that Ethernet wire. There's also a lot of adapters. There's a lot of adapters that you can buy if you believe that your computer doesn't have the right Ethernet attachment. I actually use this for my phone at home. My cell phone at home is hardwired through an adapter that has an Ethernet port because I don't use any wireless devices at home. So this is a very useful way to eliminate your electromagnetic
Right.
radiation.
And
Oh, I went
that,
the wrong way.
now that the
Routers now, we are done.
The router is gone and we have hardwired the computer, which is a much better solution. It's faster, it's more secure, and there's no radio frequency coming at you. So the next tool that we use is the tri-field meter, and this measures magnetic and electric. It measures it separately. So we're going to focus on electric at this time and find what is so high, what are the high fields here? So the computer is a high field.
And you're touching it too.
And the lamp is a very high field.
And that's just a regular lamp.
It's just a regular lamp.
Yeah, just a normal.
Quote unquote, nothing's normal now.
Nothing's normal anymore.
And this lamp, I don't even have to get very close to it and it starts getting louder.
Try to turn this on.
Right.
I live in a West Ridge.
Oh,
It used
yeah.
to be all farmland, but if I don't get out immediately and do things, it's just like you can't get out. I have a friend that's doing high-end computers. He deals with India, China, Japan, more
Wow.
than 40 years, and he's losing his mind. He's constantly exposed to this, and he's getting the
Wow.
screaming fits, and I'm not safe being there, but I can see now.
that's a shame.
And he
Yeah.
has asthma, so pray for Mr. O.
Okay.
Oh, but with asthma medicine, no wonder he's losing his MIND. And it's best that I'm not there.
Well,
Period.
I'm glad that you understand how to take care of yourself. That's a
Oh,
good job.
well, it's not
Yeah.
as easy as that, but I
No.
find out, ladies and gentlemen, that there's something in if I stay there, it's like you can't get going. You just have to, and I feel totally different when I
Yeah.
evacuate my body from him and the environment.
Right, and
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a lot of electronics and
Oh,
other
tons.
products that
And
just
then
really-
whenever he's off and not exposed to it, he's a totally different person when he takes off.
Right. Well, maybe you can give him some
A
of
couple
these
helpful tips.
tips and tricks, because down here, Jo-Anna has her feet directly next to the surge protector
And that's what he does all day.
and the brick from your computer. The brick from your computer is very high electric field, and it's also a very high magnetic field. Yes, like 6, 7, okay, 35, 40, yeah, it just keeps going
extremely
up.
high.
Right, so to remediate the electric fields, instead of having everything go to an outlet directly behind you, which is what most people do, they sit near an outlet so everything can be plugged in nicely. We are going to, also, let's unplug this lamp.
Can you turn those lights off? They're really strong.
Yeah, I can.
Yeah.
I mean, on the pole.
Yeah, they're hard.
And a number of years ago, I was, a group of people from church where they went to Wegmans to get something to eat, ladies. The minute I walked into Wegmans, all of a sudden I got a severe migraine headache. I couldn't see right, and I felt very nauseous. I'm very sensitive to certain type of synthetic lights.
Yes, that's not uncommon.
I know.
That is not uncommon. So our first recommendation is to remove the lamp that is directly on the table, because you are touching the table. And electricity wants to go, it wants to flow in the smoothest direction. It is looking for ground. And we are beautiful grounding rods. So not only is it near us, it in fact is drawn to us. So let's not have a lamp right here by your head and your hands. We're gonna take the lamp off of the desk, even though it's beautiful. We know it looks so beautiful. Put it on another table further away.
It depends.
You can still have it on
The eye
another
of the
table
beholder.
further away. And Jo-Anna, while we were chatting, is perfect. That's perfect. Has moved the wires more than 3 feet away from her, which is perfect. And if you need to, what?
Yes, and I was just gonna say, if you have a laptop, charge it overnight and unplug it. Unplug it so that that electric current isn't constantly coming at you.
Unplug it.
Right.
Ouch.
Well, when you're working on the computer, instead of having it constantly charging, if it has a full charge, just unplug it. So that's one less electric and magnetic field so close
Yeah,
to
the
you.
equipment he's using is from the company, and I'm just learning all this.
Yeah, yeah.
It's, oh,
And once you unplug it from the computer, unplug it from the wall as well, because it is still, I'm going to show that. It's still conducting electricity. There's still electricity in here.
whoa.
Because,
Yeah.
again, it doesn't have to be turned on. Do you want to nab the tri-field? It doesn't have to be turned on.
So that went up to
It is not plugged into anything.
800. Out here, I'm still at 150. These are very high electric fields.
Yeah. But stand over there, move away while I'm holding this up. And where are you now?
I'm at 3. 3 is nice.
Distance. Distance is
that
your
little
friend.
bit.
Just that little bit.
Move it away from you and unplug it. Unplug it. Put that there. So she's removed all the wires. Now, we do have to imagine that we have
Ethernet
an
cord.
Ethernet cord. Yes.
So, and then we magnetic?
I think we're on, is it MEP?
Oh, MEP, right.
Yeah, MEP is next. So I have to turn,
Sorry.
oh, that's okay. I have to turn this lamp back on. I apologize. I know it's very upsetting. We're gonna go really quickly though with this. And I know I just said take this off the table, but we need to demonstrate the electric pollution coming out of this, the dirty electricity coming out of this.
We can shield it a little bit like that.
Oh, okay, that's a good idea.
That might help.
Oh, just so it doesn't burn.
Yeah,
It
it
won't.
won't burn it.
It's
It
far enough
won't burn
away.
it.
Far
Yes.
enough away.
So interestingly enough, microsurge electric pollution travels at a higher frequency than 60 hertz, and that's what a normal lamp is at, 60 hertz, that's the frequency. So the frequency for dirty electricity is 150, 180, 210, 250. They divide like that. And you can detect it with a simple AM radio, because it is a radio, it's a frequency that's high enough to be caught by an AM radio. So we will turn things on here.
Now, what we have is the LED lights.
Yes.
They may
Turn them
overpower
off.
everything. Are we allowed to turn them off, Mark?
Just momentarily for a presentation. The type of light bulb
Okay.
really matters. Now let's see.
Or go up to before it got much louder. So in this room, because there's Wi-Fi, this will always have a noise. But if you recall when Kate put that up earlier, it went very, very loud and high pitched.
That's Wi-Fi. I don't know.
Well, let's
Let's see.
see if we can demonstrate this.
let's see.
Now these are 3 different types of typical bulbs. An Eco Smart
Oh,
bulb.
yeah.
So this is a CFL bulb, okay?
Can you hear the difference as we
You
come
can hear the
in?
buzz. So if you can hear that hum, that is MEP. That's the noise that this particular light bulb makes.
And these are the most modern.
Yeah, I mean CFL,
Unfortunately, don't say.
I know.
right. Then they have the Eco LED is next, that's at the top. So this is what they call Eco LED. Once again, it's quite loud.
I don't know.
Sure it doesn't catch.
Nothing's gonna catch.
And then the last one is an LED that is undimmable. So typically things that dim.
Do we have them backwards? We might have it backwards.
I don't think so.
No?
No,
No?
that's the Eco Smart one.
They're all dangerous.
They're all right.
Yeah.
And this one here was an incandescent, the old type of light bulb. So we can turn this light off, please.
We can turn them all off, yes. And we can turn the other lights back on. Thank you. Yes, we can get this unplugged and off of the table.
And the magnetic fields.
The last thing we wanted to talk about were magnetic fields. And we are gonna pull out the tri-field again. Now, I'm not exactly sure. Yeah, so just standard in the room, we're at like 5.0, which is extreme. We're already in an extreme magnetic field. And it is not from that. But let's see. Maybe getting louder. And now we're at 11, 13. This is like your fingers are on the keyboard. 15, it popped to 22.
Ah,
And extreme begins at 5. And we popped all the way to 22. Right on the keyboard where you have your hands. So you know, you take your hands off the keyboard, do your hands ever feel like hot? You know? No?
a little sore sometimes.
Sometimes I take my hands off the keyboard and my hands are like hot, but here is, that's,
Right, so our recommendation is to
Mhm.
use wired keyboards and mouses, not Bluetooth keyboard and mice, so that you can distance yourself from the electric field that's present in the computer, just off of the screen and off of that, as well as the magnetic field. So that is,
right. And this is the same as the room.
this is the same as the room, about 5.
The room is about 5 and this is about 5. This one is,
10, 12, 15, 17, I think it went up to.
yeah, I think it popped up to 17.
And right here is the
You
worst.
just wonder why children today, when they're exposed to all of this, and they've had documentation that their personalities can be changed if they're addicted to the games that they
Mhm.
play.
Yeah, do you know, it's not necessarily the specific game that they're playing. It's radio frequencies and magnetic fields.
Yes.
Magnetic fields depress you. They give you depression and anxiety. Biologically, what a magnetic field does to our blood cells are like super happy. And then we get into magnetic field and they're dispersing oxygen and you get into magnetic field and they all become concentric. They line up and squish up like this. And in radio frequency, not only do they line up and squish up, they deform slightly. They they become concave on one side as opposed to
Nice, healthy
round, happy
platelets.
disc, platelet, right. So it biologically affects us, you know, yes,
Of
and
course,
there
the
is
children
definitely
are
a
not
rise.
Like today, a lot of them come down with diabetes by the time that they're in 5th grade, so that combination, they're just being wonky for a reason.
And this new world, this is just booming. Everything is becoming smart, everything's becoming wireless.
There you go.
And they have a lot of wearables, and they may or may not have some improvement in how people might behave. You know, they say, oh, well, if I get my steps in, I need my watch on. Well, but that watch is also affecting you in other ways. So I really think that it's getting worse because all of these new electronics are just, they're being created every single day. All new uses for
The other
wireless.
hiccup with new electronics is that the wires that are currently in our walls are really not strong enough to support the electricity that they're asking for.
True.
In the old
And this is how we're ending up with the dirty electricity, is that too much electricity is trying to get through the wire, and it gets squeezed to go faster, and as it gets faster, it increases in frequency and just floats out. So you're you're leaking and paying for that leakage of electricity. And we have this taped because, oh my goodness, this is the extension cord that everyone has, right? This is, please, throw them out. If you have this at home, dispose of it as soon as you possibly can.
Even if it looks like this.
Even
and
if
not
it looks
broken
brand
like
new.
that.
And this one is just an example of how, like, wires break. Wires break. Wires in your walls
They
break.
get old and brittle.
They get old and brittle like everything else. Circle of life, right?
Talk about the grounding.
We do want to talk about that. So while we're on wiring, we also want, where's the little outlet thing? You know what I've got to, the plug that we check outlets with?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
You have, is that it over there?
So, oh no, I fake plugged that router in.
Okay,
That
whatever.
sort of fake plugged in. That was to move it to another, yes.
This one or you want the other one?
This one works great. So we can see that this has 3 prongs, which means it's grounded, right? And some people believe that if you have a 2-pronged extension cord or plug, and one of them is wider than the other, then it's grounded. That is incorrect. If it does not have a third, it is not grounded and should not be used with high technology electrical equipment. It just really shouldn't, because it's not grounded. But this is a super cool little tool, and I don't know if you can follow me over here because I'm sure this is grounded nicely. You plug this into the wall, and if these 2 lights are on, that lets you know that it's grounded properly and the wiring is correct. Now, we've gone into some houses doing remediations and things like that where we have found out that there's no grounding wire, even though there are 3 plugs. The hot and the neutrals have been switched, which is very dangerous and can cause other problems. So this is a really nice little tool to use in your home.
And what is that called?
That is an excellent question, and I have trouble with
Probably buy
proper
one that
nouns.
looked like this.
But what
I
is
think
it?
it's an,
You would probably buy one that looked like this.
there you go, she has the correct.
And I think it's just called a plug tester. An outlet tester.
An outlet tester, it might really just be called an outlet tester.
Yep. Socket safety tester. Socket safety tester.
And it's a
So are these
tool that
things
has really
you guys
helped us a lot.
sell? You sell that?
Well, these we just got on, Amazon.
Yeah, you can find them at
You can
Home
find them
Depot
at
or
Home Depot. We can certainly, provide links. We have a website with a lot more information.
I feel like we're in an operating room.
Well, I I do want to introduce just one desk lamp that in fact has very low electric and magnetic fields. Because I have teenage daughters and they don't like the overhead light. I can't turn it off. I'm like, whatever. So they like to have a desk lamp. So we just want to measure this real quick and show you. You saw how hot those other two lamps got. They went up to over 400, over 600. We're at 0. We are still at 0. We are touching it.
It's lit.
And it is still at 0.
So what is this called?
So this is an LED mini lamp. There are many different varieties of this. They come in the itty bitty book format. A lot of people look at these.
And also when people are playing instruments for concerts,
Yes.
they have over the music stand.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. They can connect to that. So this is just an LED desk lamp. It was called on Amazon.
And that was about how much, maybe?
Oh, I think it.
You can get them at any range price. I think they start around $12 and go up to $35.
Amazing.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure you
Very
could find one for much more expensive than
And
$35.
It
but
holds its charge for
Yeah.
a very long time, hours. I mean,
Yeah.
I think my daughter likes to use this at times, when she's going to sleep, because then she can have just a little dim
Oh.
light, and it'll
Precious.
stay lit all night long. So that's very good.
all right.
Next slide. So this is what
This is what we remediated. The one thing we didn't talk about was the outlet switch. Here we have a TV. Oftentimes people are doing their work right in the living room, or they have a television in their bedroom, wherever they're doing their work. So as we mentioned earlier, televisions are always emitting whether or not they are turned on.
Whoa.
They are always emitting electrical fields, obviously, but they're also searching all the time. Did you want this channel? Did you want this channel? They're always searching. They almost don't know that the screen isn't on. It's almost that bad. So what we recommend is to get an outlet switch. So when you plug it in, instead of plugging the product directly into the wall, you would plug it into this little switch instead. You're going to plug this into the wall that is grounded lovely, and it has a remote. So you turn it on and off with the remote. People are like, oh, but I don't want another thing I have to do. There's nothing else to do. You just turn it off with the remote. And this turns it off at the outlet. So now there's no electricity going through. It's off at the outlet.
and therefore the Wi-Fi stops emitting, the Bluetooth stops emitting as well.
The electric
Turning it
fields and
off
magnetic
is-
fields are reduced,
Right.
significantly reduced.
I think this is a class in physics.
Well, it is a little bit.
I never took physics.
It is a little bit of physics, it is, but, it's really building biology, because this is like, the way
So-
the building affects our biology.
So what we wanna do is measure body voltage again,
Yes, we do.
because it's gonna run out, so we wanna do it before it does.
Okay, yeah, before the computer dies.
So I didn't charge it.
So I need to be like,
So when we started, if you guys remember, we were at like 2,500, 2,800. Just with the changes that we've made, at 197. So that was a huge reduction in our EMF emissions. Now, if I touch this keyboard here,
which is the
at
keyboard that's attached.
the attached keyboard,
Right, the separate keyboard.
I'm at, 165, it changes. If I touch this,
The computer, the
The
keyboard
computer
on the
on
laptop.
the laptop, it's about the same because we're no longer plugged in.
Right.
If you recall, the last
The
time we
computer
did
died.
this, well, no, the computer's still
Oh,
on,
okay.
but we're no longer plugged in.
Ah.
When we were plugged in and I touched this previously, my body voltage spiked. So this is a very effective way of reducing your body voltage. We went down by over 2,500 millivolts.
At least 2,000.
Yes.
At least 2,000, so
At
that
least
is, that's incredible.
And that was our goal, was to
That's right.
remediate
To
this
reduce-
space.
Yes. To reduce, okay.
Okay.
Yes, here's our picture.
Oh, sorry.
Right, okay. And so throughout your home, you can do this by unplugging unused electronics. If you never use the toaster oven, unplug it. My best friend has a microwave just for her daughter, and you don't even necessarily have to unplug it. You can use a switch, right? You can plug it into the switch and turn it off, and then everything is turned off. My best friend has a microwave just for her daughter because she likes to heat up her coffee. My best friend she never uses the microwave. It's in a closet, unplugged. If you don't use it, unplug it. To distance yourself, we showed you how to just move the wires 3 to 6 feet away from you, especially the surge protector. Hardwire your home instead of using the Wi-Fi from the router. And yes, you can control, this is right, your personal connectivity by learning how to use your antennas, which you did today, which is wonderful. And then just, continue to educate yourself about EMF and EMR safety,
Oops. It went.
Oh, it skipped our last, we'll be here again. Hopefully, we have 3 other programs
There it is. It
in
came
the
back.
works for the fall. We want to manage our personal devices, and it's especially important, as we showed with the photo before, how deep it gets into the children's heads. It's especially important for babies and children.
And there's more and more products that are wireless for babies, so we'll be talking
Yeah,
about
we'll definitely be
that as
talking
well.
about that. And you were talking about how you don't sleep very
Never
well.
have.
Well, ward off the winter blues by creating a sleep sanctuary. That's one of the things we really like to do first when we go to people's homes to remediate, because that's something we do as a
What
business.
about the smoke alarm? Does that emit anything, when,
Do you know the smoke alarm often has, no, it is not a high emitter,
okay.
because it's battery operated,
Oh, okay.
and it is, in
Many-
general,
some
you
of them
know?
are hardwired. Many of them
Oh, okay.
Some of them are.
Some of them
And
are
what about
hardwired.
the refrigerators?
Refrigerators are a hiccup. They have very large magnetic fields, very large magnetic fields. So I'm glad you brought that up, because oftentimes, the living room or the dining room and the kitchen share a wall. So when you're setting up your
There's no
desk,
wall there.
Oh, it's all one space, or it's all one room.
It's like a studio apartment.
okay. So wherever the refrigerator is, you don't want to set up your workspace,
What about
within.
if I sleep near the refrigerator?
I would recommend finding a different place to lay down your head, like a little rearranging, a little bit goes a long way.
A little does go a
I
long
need a new
way.
computer chip in my head.
In your head. I don't think so.
You're doing pretty
You seem
well.
awfully sharp, yes.
But we'll be talking a lot about sleep sanctuaries in the winter.
Yes, and then come next spring, staycation or vacation, how to relax when you stay at home and also when you go out on vacation. It's very difficult to find places that you can remediate to be comfortable with a low EMF environment.
Some simple
So
things
just
to
some
do
simple
when
things
you
to
get
do
the
when you get to
hotel.
hotels and be in, what are they? Airbnbs.
Airbnbs.
Right, and things like that. Do you have any questions?
You had a slide up there earlier that I thought you did not talk about, that actually talks about what all of this radiation does to you. I don't remember
Oh.
you addressing that at all. So
Oh.
I thought I had seen a slide up there.
Well, you may have seen a slide that said that the World Health Organization has categorized it as a type 2 carcinogen. And I did not say that out loud,
Okay.
and I missed that in the
Maybe
practice
maybe it
as
was
well.
that one. Yeah.
Yes,
And that's the same as lead.
Okay.
yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
Mm. Yes, it is categorized as a type 2 carcinogen.
Folks on Zoom have any questions, feel free to unmute if you'd like.
I have a question.
Okay,
Do salt lamps emit anything?
a salt lamp. Well,
Mhm.
is it plugged in?
Yeah, plugged in and on.
Okay, so there is electricity going through it.
Right?
And, yes, so it definitely has an electric field, but I would be very surprised if it had a large magnetic field.
Although it has a heat, there's a heat or a light.
Oh, is
So
there
could
a
be-
heating element
Yes.
as part of the salt lamp?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a little bit. Mhm.
yeah, so
Okay.
that may also have a magnetic field.
Okay, so the heating element may have a magnetic field. I didn't realize it had a heating element.
Mhm.
So, yes, anything that is electrical has an electric field, and once it is turned on, it does have a magnetic field. And with a heating element, the magnetic field might be a little bit larger, but I do know that people feel strongly about the health benefits of a salt lamp. So you can still reap those benefits, just keep it 3 to 6 feet. And I would say with the magnetic field that we're suspecting is there, keep it 6 feet away from you because distance is your friend.
Okay,
Okay?
thank you.
Welcome.
Sure.
Anyone else on Zoom or in the room?
What is your fee if you come to a home and see a disaster?
Well,
I mean, do you bring all this equipment with you, and what do you charge, or what is your?
So we do bring all of this equipment and more. We personalize our visits, so it all starts with scheduling a free consultation where we'll sit down and then we create a package that's unique to you and your situation with an estimate of the cost.
Is it under 1,000?
Once again,
we do make our packages personalized.
right.
So it's difficult to say if your requirement is that it needs to remain under 1,000, then we would build that into the package. And, depending on how much of a disaster it is, we might not be able to get to everything because there are only so many hours, that we can devote to that.
And I think that some of the products, they have a fee. So I think it really also depends on what solutions the customer would pick, right? So we have options, and some of those options could be costly for the actual product that would have to be purchased and then installed.
How long have you been in business?
We are brand new. We just got started.
Yes.
I guess we started our journey about a year ago.
And about how many visits, just ballpark, how many visits have you made to homes? And if you don't want to answer that, that's fine.
I think we visited maybe 10 different homes.
So,
Yeah, we've done about 10 different homes.
And how did they get to know about you?
Word of mouth.
Yeah. Yeah, word of mouth. Yeah.
And now we're branching out to
Yeah, and the
just
10
do
different
some-
homes actually we started our journey by me getting my certification. And working with Joanna and I working together. So the 10 homes is really in the last 2 months, 3 months.
How long did it
Last
take
3
you to
months.
get certified?
It took us a year.
Whoa,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
We're
Thanks.
gonna call
It
them
was-
doctors.
It was fascinating, the science behind this.
Yeah.
And I was in computers for years and I knew nothing of this. So
Really?
I was on fire, in my
Literally.
workstation.
Yeah.
You were smoking.
I
Yeah.
was smoking.
Yeah, we had electricians in our group too who were just had no idea this was going on, and it made perfect sense to them as they were learning more and more.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's nice.
Contractors. And,
Mhm.
Yeah, so you can learn a lot about it on our website. So take a look at that and we're
And what is your web address?
Illuminate
Dot.
dash
it's a dash on our website.
dash EMF.com.
You're right. I'm wrong.
Let me
Gee,
see,
we have
have
somebody with
another
a question.
Okay.
What resources would you recommend for people who want to learn more?
We have a lot of blogs on our website, and we have a lot of links on those blogs with the references to the scientific journals, so I think that that's a good place to start.
And if you have questions, we're on Instagram at Illuminate.EMF, and you can DM us with any questions, and we will certainly help you do the research and send out any reports that we know of.
Do you have business cards?
We do.
We do indeed, yes.
Okay.
We
Any
also have a
other
few
questions,
brochures.
comments from people on Zoom? Otherwise, we need to wrap up.
Thanks everyone
Okay.
for joining.
Yeah, thanks everybody.
Thank you. Thanks for coming out.
Thanks.